Welcome everyone to this Force Friday. Today we are going to talk about feet, right? Our ever glorious feet. Here, let's put us in gallery mode so you can see all of us. Yeah, feet. Let's talk about feet for a second before we get into drawing them. I think it's probably the most well-deserved subject that we've drawn in quite some time, and ironically, the least discussed, right? In fact, somebody started the chat today with like, oh, there's not really that many videos on feet, and yet these guys are carrying the weight of our bodies around every day, helping us get from place to place, right? So, keep that in mind. Like, how is a foot designed, right? We've talked about this in a prior video, so we're not going to go into all the details today. Today, you're going to get to watch us draw feet. It's going to be more of a demoing concept today. We'll try to do some note taking. I'm going to try to share some insights on how I did the drawings that I did, what I'm thinking about. But in the background of that, I just want you to have the awareness of the importance of your feet. Heads, hands, and feet, right? All three of those moments on the body are huge. And we are walking around on our feet all the time. They have the ability to bend, right? More in one direction, more like this than they are the other way, right? They can flex more than they can extend. And what always amazes me is the fact that we can balance, right? The fact that they're not that big compared to the height of our bodies, and that we still have the capacity to constantly walk around, run and jump over top of these small pads. So I don't know. I think it's just an amazing part of our body, an amazing machine. And I think at some point in my learning to draw process, I just became enamored with feet. It's like the amazingness of the mechanism itself, and recognizing when you're drawing a model, looking at the weight, right? Like really trying to find evidence of the weight that the feet are holding, or the effort that the feet are showing. If the foot's like on a ground like this and it's like pushing on a diagonal, and you'll see like the friction of the foot like on the ground. Like I try to get that. It's like if a foot is like going this way and it's like turned over, it's like this because of the pressure. We're trying to slide out. It's almost like a car going around a turn, right? It's like sliding on its two tires. Like, man, I love that stuff. I look for that. That's such a great little juicy piece of exciting, forceful information that I want to get into my drawing, that adds more force and more believability to the whole thing. It really informs the story of everything that's going on upstairs, right? So we want to try to get that. So before we get into it, let's say hello to the gang. How you doing, Swemley?
Good, ready to draw some forceful feet.
Yeah.
Looking forward.
I didn't end up doing this, but last minute I was thinking, oh, the thumbnail for this should have been like me with my foot up, like next to my, like some kind of silly over the top image, or pictures of my own feet in here. And then I ended up not doing it. Maybe in the future I'll expose more of my own body in these videos, but not this time, folks. I have to make sure I make them all nice and polished for you and take care of my toenail, but not this time. How you doing, Mrityunjay?
Yep, I am doing good. As you can see, I'm all ready. So
yes, you are.
Well,
you have a skull and a foot.
Yeah, maybe that's me trying to understand feet,
Exactly. I think you need to change diets, is what I'm thinking. Maybe a little more carbs. I know keto's big, but maybe a little more carbs.
Yeah, need to grow some muscles on top of that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so our order today will be, I'll be starting us up, then it'll be Mrityunjay and then Swemley. We're going to be watching a recording, so you'll watch me on paper. I am drawing on paper. I did this a couple of days ago, yesterday actually. And I did this because so you'll get to watch me draw on paper, but it also gives me the chance to draw on top of that video. I think there's things I want to try and call out. So we're going to see how that works out. I think the other guys are going to be drawing in the moment today, so you'll have the taste of that also. So let's get to it. I'm going to get us over to Photoshop here. Okay. Oh, before we get started, I have a couple of small mentions. Number one, a big one. This Sunday, I will be doing a Force Basics workshop. I have not done this in years, no joke, years, right? Like I used to teach in Europe and stuff a lot. So I would be live, but I would be in Europe. It wasn't online. I haven't done an online class or a workshop in, I would say, at least 5 years. So if you're interested in learning more about force and all the stuff we teach on this channel, I'm going to be teaching basics about line, the force line, how to draw it, you know, how to move to, in order to get it, how does it pertain to the body, and I'm going to give attendees the opportunity to submit work through Zoom. It'll be a Zoom meeting. You'll be able to submit work, and we'll take some time at the end of the session to go over people's work as well. So if you're not part of the website or anything and you never had your work looked at, this is a great chance for you to also send stuff in during the video, you know, during the workshop, and have me take a look at it live, right? So I hope that you guys can make it. Like I said, the link is in the description, and it'll be this upcoming Sunday at 12:30 Pacific Standard Time, right? So I hope that you guys are there. I would love to have you guys there and get to know you a little bit better, know your work a little bit better. Okay, so that's the first thing. Secondly, I grabbed this. This is a snapshot of a video that I did for Strathmore, the paper company, many years ago, probably more like 8 or 10 years ago. They reached out to me. And this I think you can find online. So you can take a look at this. It covers some of the basics of force, not all of it. It's like a little bit of each thing, right? But the reason I brought it in here today is because I love that foot drawing. You know, you can see all of the force and energy that's in this foot, right? So here, I'm going to grab my colors here. You know, you can see the directional force is moving. Let's see, where is this layer showing up here? We're going through technical. There it is. Okay, that's why. I need it above this. Well, I want it above all these guys. This drawing here, oh, that's why. I see. This drawing is basically, first of all, this model was amazing, older guy, and it's got all this fluidity in it of, you know, going from here to here, right, and smashing into here. And this would be a ton of applied force finally hitting right here, right? This whole orange zone would be going on there. So I love that about it, you know, and it shows just how dramatic, you know, feet can be, right? So this is a combination of force, form, and shape. I'm using all three of those tools there as well, right? So let's get to the video, right? So I created this video for you guys to watch me draw on paper, and let's kind of scrub this guy out, right? So here we go. Let me get this video up and running. There we are. Okay, I'm just going to play it. So I'm on smooth newsprint. Okay. Let me get here where I'm starting. There we go. I'm on smooth newsprint. I'm using the that Mars Black, the Staedtler Mars Black pencil. So that's what you're seeing here. Oh, and the reference, let me get the reference up here while this video is running. Let's see, is it this guy? No. 1 second. I want you guys to see it there. So this is the photograph. Okay. So that's what I'm working off of. I'll make it a little smaller. So that's the photograph. So when I look at this photo, by the way, you know, I'm thinking, man, there's a lot. Look at the diagonal, right? Like his foot's grounded and he's coming in with this very strong diagonal. So that alone starts exhibiting, you know, just a ton of force, right? It's like, I want to know that the energy is coming in this way. And remember I was saying before, that means his foot wants to slide that way. And I want to think about that. You can see how the roundness of the foot is like this, and this side is like stretched out, and the compression's all happening on this side, right? So compression and stretch, it's sliding out that way. You can see just how like exaggerated the ball of his foot is right here because of that, right? Because everything's like pulling over like this, right? So these are all the things that I want to capture in the drawing, right? Okay. Let's get back to the video. I'm going to try to run the chat while you guys are watching. An orange slice from Engels. There we go. You can see that I witnessed the stress that's going on in the ball of that foot, right? Like I really want that. And notice with the toes, I kind of created an average like shape here before I got to the toes. And then once I hit that top knuckle, I kind of just float over where all the knuckles of the toes touch the base of the foot, right? Now, this, I'm not sure why I got in this. You could see I'm like, I'm getting into details too fast. And I left it very quickly. And now I'm just trying to like block out like each of the toes, right? Like pretty fast. You see, I'm like, okay, that toe's doing this toe is doing this, just like a simple gesture, basically, of each toe, right? And then I'm like, okay, let me get that shape, right? I'm averaging out the shape for the other two thereafter, okay? The Sunday workshop will not be on YouTube. Somebody was asking online. If anything, it might end up going on drawingforce.com, but it won't be on YouTube. So all those lines across the top of the toes, those are me setting up the joints, right? And the joints are in perspective. So I want to make sure that I'm holding on to that construction, right? The perspective of all the toes. And now I'm starting to finally break down into like their individuality. Notice the foot is forceful but shaped, right? So when I'm drawing for myself and I'm not like mentoring, my common approach is to go for forceful shape. I'm looking at the shape and what's the force of that shape. That's usually where my head goes. And you're going to see today that I keep pushing into that actually further and further and further and further. So these are all the tendons that are running from his toes, you know, up over the top of his foot. And what's cool about toes is and the foot is that they're very much like the face in that they have a ton of personality, right? Yeah, what's great about the foot is it's very unique, right, to each individual. Now, some people would say, well, that stinks because that makes it harder. It does because there's specificity, but the better you learn how to draw, the more you're looking for that, right? You really start to hunger for the fact that, let me find that specificity, right? I really want to see the uniqueness of all of it. You'll notice the direction the tendons are curving in, right? They curve to the right like that. That's because of what I talked about at the beginning of the foot rolling itself over, right? It's like rolling over to the right because it's trying to slide out from underneath to the left. So those lines I'm putting in right now, that's form, right? So you want to understand like the structure and how that's actually going around the body like that. Yeah, so, you know, keep in mind the structure of it. You can see I started structuring the side a little bit of the foot, the right-hand side, trying to feel the edges out. Those are surface lines. Now I'm building out the ankle and how that's going to fit into the structure of the foot itself, right into the top of it, sit it in there. So these are tendons from the muscles of the shin, right, as they're pulling down into the foot. So Ed is asking, so would the forces on this foot still push from the inner ankle to the outside of the foot, or does it stay on the inside despite the, no, the ankles, you could see the diagonal is still there, right? So the left side or the inner ankle is still the higher one and would like pull down the, pull down the right like that. But from the view of this foot, it's also arching over the top, right? We want to keep that top edge going. All right, let me see if I can find our second reference. All right. Trying to remember which foot that is. Oh, yeah. All right, let's pause this. 1 second here. We're at 420. I want to get you guys the next image. Type in any questions that you may have. It's not that guy. It's this one. There we go. So this picture here, I'm just going to put it up on screen real quick so you can see it. So this is our next photo, right? So look at all the force of this, right? The model is like pushing down from the top of their body and crushing their weight down onto this foot, right? So a lot of force on the top of the foot is pushing itself into the ball of the foot again. A lot of squeezing going on in those toes down there as they're compressed and like popping out from the pressure, right? So we want to get all of that, into the drawing, right? All right, so we were at 420. There we go. Now, what I said earlier was I kept pushing more and more towards shape. So look at what just happened here, right? I basically went right for the silhouette at this point, but that silhouette is based on the force of it, right? So I'm looking at the photograph. I'm feeling all that energy. You can see the line got darker there very quickly. And now I'm like, man, I really want to push into that. But I shaped it out, with force, right? So and now I'm creating the shape of the toes, right? Just a very average, overview. And then I'm going to break that down, with the shaping of each one. So I'll block them out, get some structure going in there. And then as I'm building it, I want to try to hold on to those forces as well. Kevin said, is there an outside, inside, outside pattern for drawing the foot that is similar for the knee? No, but there is always the top of the foot to the ball of the foot, and sometimes the heel, like heel, top of foot, ball of foot. So you could have some of that, like back and forth, like the knee. I'd say more to be aware of is the bottom of the foot, the sole of the foot is more like a C torso, right? So you'll go around, and you'll see, this is in the other video, by the way, if you guys are interested in learning more of the templates and stuff like that, there is another video on drawing feet. The sole of the foot is like a C torso, where the outside edge of your foot is like the bent part of the body, the longer side, and then the ball of the foot and around the heel are the two smaller curves on the opposite side of the C torso, right? So you can see that edge that I created there, and I put a little tone on the right just to clarify that. Here I'm trying to just get some form into those shapes of the toes. So I got the toes in there, I blocked out their shapes, and I'm taking on each one, I'm creating its shape, I'm getting it filled with form, right? And then you can see I'm adding more detailed edging to that shape. and then trying to get the toe in there, right? And now you'll see me just start working on the inside. I'm like, well, I got the edge of the far edge of the foot, but not really the edge of the top of the foot, you see? So, because sometimes there's like two planes that happen there. So I'm trying to feel that out. Right, and here I'm trying to clarify the shape of it. I'm just knocking back the toes. There's a nice kind of light in there. I usually don't do much rendering, but you can see I'm like knocking back the shape of the toes there. A soft touch or sketch from the force brushes similar to the pencil you're using? Yeah, soft touch isn't a tool, right? Like soft touch, well, it is. I mean, we have a soft touch brush, but soft touching, the verb isn't a tool. It's a way with which you draw. And all it means is coming in light, right? Redacted. It's just to come in light and build up to darkness. The better you get at drawing, the less soft touch you need. You know, you can get dark fast. But again, the beginning I would recommend is to go through that process, right? So I'm almost done with the second drawing here. And again, what I want you to witness is my travel over to shape, you know, that I'm moving myself more and more over there. It's like, what is the shape of the foot? And those shapes, though, have to come from force, right? No matter what, I'm trying to, discover the force of it. All right, last foot, right? So where are we at? We're at 655. Here, I'll show you really quickly what the last reference looks like. Should be right here somewhere. So here's the last one, okay? So that one, I'm going to now, I'm going to try to go right for the shape of it. Now, shape is like a shortcut to form and perspective. The shape already will indicate all that other information, right? So let's do that. Let's see, 655 right here. So you're going to see me do that. So that was really fun. I love the back and forth that I cut into the arch of the foot. And now I'm kind of shaping out the toe. And you're going to see here, I was like going to start drawing it. And I'm like, nah, let me just block out the masses of the toes, their shapes. So that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm just making sure I land in the right place by the end. I'm counting them. I've definitely caught myself many times drawing 6 toes or well, I do it more with toes than I do fingers, but putting in an extra toe. So always count your toes. So you can see the shape is there, and it's mostly like the bottom of the foot. And now I'm carving out the heel, right? Like the back of the heel. And what shape do I get by seeing the top of the foot, right? And trying to feel its form out. And then there's the ankle, right? And I'm bringing in the leg. Getting in these are wrinkles in the bottom of the foot, but at the same time, they help express structure, right? So those are really a great tool. Again, I'm putting a little bit of shadow and tone to just allow the drawing to not float on the page, basically, and let it be more grounded so you could feel that it's on a surface. And then I'll go into the smaller stuff. So the big job's done, right? We could walk away from this at this point and at least understand what the foot's doing, right? I'm checking, each toe and just looking at like, how's the nail landing? How much is that toe curled over or not? Right, and trying to make sure that's in there. Just trying to feel out more of the roundness here of the foot. All right, and that's pretty much it. So with that, I think I answered most of the questions. Let's see here. How do you deal with all the wrinkles in the feet? Do you just ignore them? Well, wrinkles in skin, dark night, are like wrinkles or folds in fabric, right? And what I mean by that is edit, edit what you don't need out and keep what you need. So wrinkles on the body, the skin wrinkling could detract from the clarity of what the function of something is. So if it's going to work for me, I use it. If it doesn't work for me, I leave it, right? It's like if the wrinkles are going around the bottom of the foot and I can use it to help me describe form and it's there, sure, why not? If it goes against it in some way that's only going to detract from it, I leave it alone. Remember, you're creating a drawing, right? It's not a photograph. We're using line to create a drawing. So because of that, I have to play a little bit more into the rules of that landscape instead of that of a photo. We all just believe a photograph because it's a photo, we could see it, right? So keep in mind, there's some editing always that goes on, using and not using, what works and doesn't work. Edward says, so the shape ties in the forces and form essentially. Yes. Shape is such an interesting thing, Ed, in that if you're getting the shape right, the reason you got it right is because you probably know what the form is, right? Usually when students jump to shape too early, they draw the shape and they draw it wrong because they're not aware of how much form it took to create that shape, right? So, this is like one note of Glenn Keane's that I've been sharing with students a lot over the last 2 weeks again. Yeah, these are like these educational sheets he put out when he was working at Disney Animation. And one of them said, ask yourself, what is the shape of the form you are drawing? So that question in itself alludes to the idea that the form actually exists first, right? What is the shape of the form that you are drawing, right? So there's this form. What is that form's shape? So that's what I'm doing. I'm thinking, here's this form of the foot. What is the foot's form's shape, right? And that's what I'm illustrating. And knowing how to draw that silhouette and understand that force is driving that form to make that shape. So in the end, force and shape come together as one idea. You're drawing forceful shape, and then you just basically need to fill it with form, right? And then that becomes a quicker process because in the end, you've created like a bucket, right? Now, I don't teach it that way. I actually teach force, form, and shape because I want to take the long road with everybody, make sure everyone understands structure and that structure creates shape, not the other way around. I've tried that. It doesn't honestly work that well. So try and, keep that in mind. You want to get that structure stuff down first, okay? Yeah, true. I remember hearing that once. Let's see. Dark night, wrinkles on the skin are just lines in different directions. So Ed enters it out. Let's see. I'm just seeing any other questions. Okay. All right. So it's Mrityunjay's turn. Let me give you the ability to share. Let's take care of that. Get you and Swenley set up, and let's move on to the next step. So it's all yours, Mrityunjay, when you're ready.
Yeah, this is the first time I don't need that power.
Oh, that's right. You really don't.
Yeah.
Here, I'll just pin your video, and that should actually do it.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, it's pinned.
Yeah.
All right then. So, so last time, last time I did digital, but the last stream, I was looking at my computer, for the reference. So I shared some references with you. But this time, so what I did is I took my tablet, as you can see, and I have the reference here. So this would be better for me and better for you, so that you can see the reference all the time. Okay, so hopefully that helps. And I also have the good orientation of the page today, right? Because you'll be drawing feet, so I need this like longer, like the portrait format. All right, so let's start with it. Now I know some of you asked some questions about the wrinkles and such, and you can see in the reference, we have a lot of wrinkles, right? How to deal with them, how to simplify, and you can see this is such an amazing reference here. All right, let's go for it. So I'm just gonna be using the same tool, you know, as Mike was using. I'm gonna be using Stapler 8B graphite. Yeah, let's go for it. So just to break this down, this reference is like that. The force is coming off the top of the feet here. Okay, the force is coming from the top, right? So it's definitely coming from the back, you know, like from the back, and it's coming to the top of the feet here. So it's basically this rhythm right here. Okay, and then it's like going to the ball of the foot and into and that's the end, right? It's going into the ground after that. So it's you can see it's a true rhythm system, right? We have one rhythm in here, one rhythm in here. Okay. So I try to go for like these two rhythms. Okay. So that's just a breakdown. And then let's go for the actual drawing. All right. So yeah, I'm just going for that sweep again here. As I'm coming down there, you see, this part is, you know, this part is like that, right? Like you imagine like a line in there, and then this part is like this. Okay, so there's a plane change that's happening in there, and you can see that. Okay, so it's almost like yeah, it's not almost like it's actually a plane change in there. Okay, so I'm just going for that. Yeah, I'm putting like a cylinder in there. Just gonna zoom this out here. So that's like a cylinder. So that's another breakdown for the feet. And then you can see like that's the other part. Okay. So this kind of turning edge comes up in here, and that's actually forming the whole feet. Okay, like whole feet. And then you know what I usually did? I actually grouped the fingers. Sorry, the toes in this case. So I have the big toe, right, which is like that. So that's the big toe, and then I usually just like group those toes together, like that. And this is like the simplification form. This is like the filter that I'm watching this through. Okay, just to let you know. Now, let's go for the actual. I mean, how I would draw this. You know, when let's say if I'm drawing it alone. Okay, so this is for you, kind of breaking it down. This is the rhythms. Okay, like the forces. This is with some form. Okay, so you can see the turning edges. That's a turning edge. Okay, so it's like this and this. This is how it's going basically. Okay, again, can you see the plane change in there? It's like it's definitely a box in there. And yeah, so it is going like this. So this plane is like that. This plane is like this. Okay, so it's basically the edge of the box. Okay, like this and this. Hmm? All right. And then, yeah, just like I've said, now I'm gonna draw it like the way I would do it normally. Okay. So hopefully you can handle this. Um, See, there's like a lot of creases in here because that's the feet taking the pressure. Okay. How many here? That's the turning edge. Now, usually, you know what I'm doing, as you can see, there's like a lot of creases in the feet there. So I'm not drawing the turning edge, you know, with one stroke, just like it is in the last image you can see, right? So this is just what I did is like that, right? So instead of doing that, I am just gonna show that using the creases, right? And this is I'm actually transforming into like sculpting mode, basically. Okay. So and I really like the thought that Mike actually mentioned today, which is you're creating a drawing, you're not a camera, you're an artist. Okay. So you don't need to capture everything, just that you need to capture the feel of that thing. Right? So but I'm thinking about the pressure here. Look at the pressure, right? That's like so much of pressure in there. And now it's going to be like you. Okay. Yeah, it's there. This is another place in there to capture the pressure. Okay, there we go. All right. Yeah. It's going to be like that. And just like I said, you know, I'm just going to capture the big toe, right, which is the main one, and then I'm just gonna go and group like all those fingers, and then I will divide them. That's a big toe right here. And then all the small toe, all the toes. Right here. I'm just gonna do the grouping, okay? So that's my main idea about this feet, about this feet pose. I'm just trying to like grab in like more areas where I can show like more pressure, where the feet obviously is handling like a lot of pressure. So yeah, I always do that, to kind of like make my tip like more chisel like, so I can use this to do more broad strokes. And so I can doing that, I can use my writing grip to create more wide strokes. Okay, so if I'm doing that, yeah, it's more like a chisel tip now. Okay, anyway, so this helps me do some like details on the top. All right, let's get with this one here. So just like I said, I'm gonna be transforming kind of into like a sculpting mode here. And that is also to show the turning edge, but also the weight. And then let me know if there's any question in the chat, guys.
Yeah, no questions. People are loving your line.
Thank you. All right, so if I'm gonna do it like too much, that will be too much. Yeah, I mean that will be over. Okay, so I think the beauty lies in the simplicity of showing things. If you get the feel of it, I don't think you need to go like too much. So I'm only grabbing like the sculpting at like few places, and that's gonna help me just capture the feel. So there we go. Okay. So that's kind of a little bit more sculpting. Remember, I'm doing sculpting just to show more pressure, like where the foot is like really scrunched up, and like I'm eliminating those creases which are like unnecessary. And this is important. Like this part is actually very important. I'm gonna go do some creases in there. So that's some sculpting right there. And then obviously that's the leg, like the lower leg there. Here. Here's the bone that I showed. Okay, so like the bone, a little bit bone in there. You can also do it lighter. It doesn't always mean that if you're doing sculpting, you always have to do it darker. And finally, this one. So with the toes and the fingers, basically the force sits on the top, and then it goes at the bottom, right? So this is one pattern that you have to remember. And then the other part is like the straight, right? That's like the shape trick, basically. So I'm just gonna use that. So the top and the bottom, and then the straight. It gives you like a really dynamic form of the toes or the fingers. It's the same for both, by the way. Okay, for the toes and the fingers, it's the same. So again, on the top and the bottom, and then straight. Just gonna be doing that as well. Now, even though I cannot see that in there, right? These toes are just like blobs of jellies. It looks like them. So, but I'm still, as an artist, I'm just like looking at the design, okay, not the actual photograph. So, yeah, in that way, my drawing would be better. So, yeah, this in there, and then the straight again. And then finally the big toe right there. See the form in there? This is very important. I'm just gonna, kind of like darken this up a little bit more, because that is the part where the feet is taking so much of pressure. Okay, and then just to show more pressure. Okay, there we go. We have like 1 feet drawing done. Okay. All right, let's go for the next one. Let's see which one. Oh, that is good. All right, so this one, the as you can see, I also I mean the foreskin come from front, uh but in this case I think it's coming from the back again. So from back again, it's going to the top of feet and it's like swings, swings right there. So if I want to do a rhythm breakdown for this one, it's going to be like this, and then yeah, this is like the whole feet. Okay, just keep it simple, right? Keep it simple. Don't make it complicated. Okay. All right. So yeah, let's go for it. All right. So you can see I'm sweeping on the top, right on the top of the feet right here. This is the place where it touches the ground. Same thing over here again. This is where the feet is getting squashed, okay, up in there, as you can see right here. And then this comes down and yeah, that's the turning edge again. And then I'm gonna draw the other. Yeah, here I'm kind of like running the risk. Yeah, the drawing is like going to be bigger here. Let's draw another one quickly because I won't be able to capture the toes, which are really good here. Let's draw it from a little bit here. Right here. We'll be drawing there. Turning edge in there. This is where the squash is happening, although I'm kind of like representing that with a straight, but yeah, that's where the squash is happening. Then it's mostly like this. And then it's like the whole toe thing, and then like the big toe right here. Okay. Yeah, so that's my blocking or just understanding rhythms. Okay. You literally can't see me, I'm literally dancing right here. As I'm like moving through this, like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You cannot see me. I'm just standing right now, by the way, just guys, just to let you know I'm standing and drawing. You can see like my like being physical, I'm just like trying to like transfer my whole energy into it. Yeah. I'm not sitting in front. So anyway, just like this. All right, again, it's the same kind of thing. Like I can use sculpting to describe it, but as you can see, like there's not a lot of creases in the upper section. That's just a texture. Okay, if you're thinking about like all of this is just the skin texture. So I'm not considering them as the creases which are necessary for me to draw right now, because they are not, right. I'm just gonna be drawing the creases which are important, and that shows the feeling or the scrunchiness nature of the feet here, of the pose here. So I'm just gonna focus on this part, mostly at this part in here. So let's go for it. Yeah, dagger, like tip. I always do that. Dagger like tip. So right here, I'm drawing that. This is the part where it touches the ground, so I have to do that. And I can show that. I can show this I can show this flow using the sculpting, so maybe I can do that. I'm showing that this flow right here. Okay, so that's the arrow that I'm using to direct the force. Yeah. So maybe that much scoping is good right here. Again, I have to show this the plane changing here. So that's the bottom of the hill. That's the back of the hill. This is the side of the hill. Okay. It's almost like a cylinder, And then these phrases are important, so I'm just gonna go draw that. Draw those right here. trying to show the bone kind of like poking out, from there. So that is one part. And again, as you can see, I'm just kind of like coming in and flowing in through there. So that's like the force from the top of the feet to the toe. Okay, so this line includes the top of the full the force from the top of the feet and then to the top of the toe as well. And then this is the bottom of the toe. Okay, so that whole that rhythm represents the whole thing. All right, let's quickly do it.
Yeah, I was going to say we got to finish up Mrityunjay.
Yes, so that's the last strokes. Okay. Right there. And I'm just going to quickly do it. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's not a feed there. So hopefully you enjoyed this demo, this traditional demo. Swanley's also gonna do some amazing traditional demos. So yeah, on to that. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Mrityunjay. Beautiful feet drawings.
Thank you.
I think
Yeah.
most of the conversation while you were drawing, I think really was around your line. And I think the confidence of the line, that, the darkness, I think helps show that confidence. I don't know if you have any words that you want to add to that.
Well, just like I always say, drawing is drawing. You're not losing anything, so go for it. The most thing, like the maximum that you lose is a paper, right? As you can see,
Yeah.
like I was drawing, I was like not afraid of drawing. I was like, oh yes, that I ruined that drawing of the composition, so I just went for another one. So yeah, go for it. That's what I always say.
Words from the wise. Just go for it,
Let's go
folks.
for it.
All right, Swanley, all yours.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's see. Let's go over here. Let's wait for the screen share to load. So for you guys, which perhaps didn't see this before, just wanted to share the supplies that I use. Again, Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils, nice wax-based pencils, nice and soft. And I have this color copy paper. Now it's a bit thicker and smoother than just regular printing paper. So great combo for force drawing, that allows you to like freely slide around on the page, and get very fluid drawings. And I'm going to be drawing this reference for you guys and talking a bit about my approach. I picked this one. I want to get a little bit of the lower leg in there as well, so we can see the connection, of course, because if you're drawing the whole figure, of course, you have to be able to connect the foot to the leg. So if you want, you can snapshot or screenshot this, and I am going to switch to my camera so you guys can see me draw on paper. So let's stop the share. Okay. And let's just go for it. Can you see everything is looking good here, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, you're all good.
Okay, cool. Let's see. So I'm thinking how much of the leg I want in there. Essentially, let me just get a bit of the lower leg. You can see that seems like force is coming from the back. I'm gonna try to go nice and big. So I have the force curve. I'm thinking about the force shape. So the straights would be here. And especially when doing quick sketching, I like to use wrapping as a quick way to add form. And then drawing feet, I have a very systematic approach to it, meaning that I first like to think of the foot as if the model was wearing socks. You know, so as you can see here, it's very fluid sock kind of shape. Now we have the heel sticking out back here. Now, so this is basically my setup for a foot. Now I might add more wrapping, maybe here where the toes are. Now, so I basically have these three sections. And let me draw, let's draw the forces in here. So force coming from the back. Now it's going over the arc of the foot, and then it's going out here, the toes, essentially. So we have this nice rhythm, and of course you have the heel back here as well. So this is my starting point. You know, if we have three main components, we have the arc of the foot, we have the toes, we have the heel back here. Now, so 1, 2, 3, simple fluid sock shape. And from here, I can start adding in the details. You know, notice how fast this happens. You know, so just think of a simple forceful sock, and the model is like resting his foot on this bench. So I want to get a sense of that form in here. Just a simple box form will do the job. So just in a short amount of time, you got a setup already. Now, when drawing the foot, especially around the ankle area, one interesting thing to notice is that the lower leg tapers, and then as you get to the ankle joint, it gets slightly wider. Now, so this is getting wider, and then it flows into the foot. Now, if you leave out the transition, it kind of like looks odd, you know, because it happens in reality, of course. So just be aware of that. It's just like with the wrist. Now the forearm tapers, and then around the wrist joint, it starts gradually getting wider and then flows into the hands. Now, and here I'm thinking of this wrench shape that the ankle bones are forming. Now I have the ankle bone right there. And then now essentially I can go to the toes. So I have this big shape. What I normally do is then, similar to what Mrityunjay did, I divide the shape into the 4 toes, and then here I have the big toe. Now notice this is nice and fluid. And from here, I can divide this shape again. Now, so I divide this in 2, and I can divide this in 2. Now I know the rhythms of the toes, and like Mike mentioned before, we did a live stream not so long ago. I think it was in November, called How to Fix Your Foot Drawings, in which we broke down the rhythm. So feel free to look at that, you know, for more detail about this. And basically thinking of the rhythms and like the simple 4 shapes of those toes. So I start with a big sock shape, and I gradually break that down into its smaller components. I'm just doing a quick checking the proportions. Yeah, this is looking good. So from here I can slow down and start looking a bit more at the details. So let me try to hold the pencil a bit farther away from the tip so you guys can see what I'm drawing. Let's see. So now I'm thinking of the toes as like this cylindrical forms. Yeah, you have that. And basically, once I add in the toenail, it shows the turning edge. You know, by me drawing the toenail, it shows that, hey, there is a plane here that I'm showing with that. Okay, let's do the same here. I'm looking at how do the toes fit into the foot. Now you have this big bump right here, the bone. I can use some surface lines to add some roundness. like the bony shape. So I'm trying to capture that in here. Okay, it's coming along well. Let's go for these other guys. So this is fitting in there. As you probably know, I love structure, so I'm usually always analyzing how things are built and how the different parts fit into each other. Paying attention to the shape design to keep things asymmetrical and forceful. I like how this toe is really squashed on the surface. This one is almost like a eardrop kind of shape. Get more of the squash in there. Okay, this fits in here, and you can see a bit of the padding of the foot. I can use some surface lines to show the roundness of the foot. So you can see the Achilles tendon, and I like that. You can see some of the texture here of the bone on the sole of the foot. You like the gesture with the big toe, so I keep working on that to make sure that I capture that. It's almost kind of like grabbing the edge of this bench with this big toe. Okay, this is coming along well. Can add some form to the lower leg as well. Let's add a hint of a shadow here. Okay, and that's pretty much good to go. So yeah, my main tip would be start with a simple forceful sock shape. As you could see, and hopefully how quickly that allowed me to get the overall gesture and like the layouts of the drawing. And then you start breaking that big sock shape down into its smaller components. And I think it's time already. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful for you guys, and we look forward to some of your food drawings.
All right. Thank you, Swenley.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, guys. I hope that you enjoyed today's session. Let me just get over to my Zoom over here. I just want to put out a last reminder again. If you're interested in the force drawing workshop, then please come and join me. It'll be Sunday at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to go over how it is that Swenley Mrityunjay and I do, what we do, right? Like, how did we get to this place? Why does the work look the way it does? Why does the line look the way it does, right? In an effort to understand how to draw with force. So you can actually learn how to have your drawings have the same understanding as ours, and also to look like what we're trying to do here, right? So, and it comes again from what you're thinking about. So we'll talk about the thinking, we'll talk about the seeing, and we'll talk about, gaining control of your hands, right? And making sure that you get really good line out of your work. So that's it, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Have a safe and fun weekend. Go draw some feet. Go draw your feet. Go draw your partner's feet, your kids' feet, your neighbor's feet, everybody's feet. And we will see you next Friday. All right. Take care, everyone. See you guys.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.